As a German, I have to say, we loved magical girls. We had Doremi, Wedding Peach, Super Pig for some reason, Sailor Moon, Phantom Thief John, and a bunch more. And even the boys watched them. Mostly because they always came up before the usual stuff you would watch like Pokémon or Digimon, but nonetheless you enjoyed them anyways. But Cardcaptor Sakura flopped and only 35 episodes were localized. Since it first aired on Pro7, a channel that wasn't really known for showing anime. Then it got shoved onto Kabel 1, which had a few more anime in their program, but the damage was already done and they also didn't bother completing the anime and just showed reruns. I love Doremi, but if that can get 2 whole seasons localized, then Cardcaptor Sakura could have easily done the same if they didn't mess up with picking the wrong channel forward, in my opinion. Even though the first season of Pretty Cure also aired here but kinda had the same fate, despite launching on Airtel 2 where all the other cool anime aired on, so maybe poor Sakura would have flopped anyways. You know what was bad for Americans? 9/11, but something that was even worse was when they brought that show over there as just Cardcaptors and did all 70 episodes. Now you might ask, how is that bad? Because there exists one version of it that aired on Kids Warner Bros. Where they tried to make Lee the main character instead of Sakura. They basically skipped the first few episodes and went straight to the one where he gets introduced to also appeal to boys. And many other edits that nowadays just make you think poor girls. They deserve shows just for themselves too, but they just thought, hey, we gotta appeal to boys. So both Germany and America and many other countries got Cardcaptor Sakura as an anime for better or worse. But you know what we didn't got? Any of the video games, because there were a whole bunch of them and I actually played them since at first I wanted to make a video about all of them, but then my totally legally acquired copy of my video editing program went kaput and everything was gone and sent me down a deep spiral of not wanting to see Sakura for a prolonged time. It wasn't her fault, but still. It's like when your parents mess up your whole childhood and you blame them for your terrible life, till at one point you realize you have to change it yourself. Don't blame the past, move forward. Easier said than done. But one of the games was always on my mind after playing it. The game is about Tomoyo wanting to take the best pictures of Sakura, without even her consent at first, right? I mean, if I saw my friend fighting a big flying bird in their pyjama, I maybe would also record it, but you shouldn't record people without their permission. So maybe if they ever want to reboot Cardcaptor Sakura, they can turn the wholesome Tomoyo into one of those annoying IRL streamers that push their camera into people's faces and then wonders why nobody's nice to them. So I would just have to hope that American companies never try to make a live-action Cardcaptor Sakura show where they would actually do something like this. Unlike Pokémon Snap, you don't really get points, you just have to take the best shots possible and hope you can get them. You don't really need to hope if you're great at understanding Japanese, because you get hints from Kiro-chan or also Tomoyo, who doesn't speak as much, and she's your best shot, because she just says now whenever there's a chance to take a good picture. So when you hear her, just press A. Or also turn the camera left or right and then press A. But you have to press the buttons for that at the same time, which is a bit weird. Basically, there's no real way to fail if you spam A and eventually you will get the pics you need to get to the next stage. So it's not really something for people who love to get high scores, and that's the biggest flaw of the game. Just when you start to get the hang out of it, it stops. You know how many stages it has? 3, and a little bonus stage. Even as someone who doesn't understand what you really have to do, it would take you like 10 minutes. But you somehow just enjoy it if you're a fan of the anime, and probably because you did not pay a single cent when you emulate it. Imagine that, paying a bunch of money to have fun for 10 minutes. I don't know at what price it launched, but even budget titles were at least like $30 most of the time. And this also launched with a limited edition that actually is worth it. Look at that, you get a cute cake set. A little plate to set the cake on and a cute fork and also spoon, depending on what you prefer for your cake. I personally enjoy doing it with a fork more. And also something to play with that you can use on your partner or your partner can use on you. But that's not all. You also get 2 pillowcases and the best thing of them all, a clock. That is really hard to read. If I had this clock in my school time, I would have missed school even more. I skipped a lot of school, maybe you can tell. All of that sounds nice, right? But the best thing about even the normal version of the game is the CD itself. They do the thing where they use the hull of the CD in the best possible way. Look, it's right there where normally the lens of the camcorder is. That alone makes it worth it to own the game. Every game that has a CD like this gets bonus points. Maybe that's why I became such a big Xenoblade fan. Back to the game. What I love about it is that it kinda tries to be like the actual episode where halfway through you get those transitions just like in the actual show. I mean, it's a good way to hide the loading screens. If they would do the loading during these parts instead of actually having a loading screen right after. So, I don't know. Afterwards, Kero also judges you and sits on his cool chair while puffing some smoke, just like in the anime. You know, it may be a low budget title, but that's what makes it so charming. Look at the graphics. People who don't understand cuteness would look at them and think, wow, this looks bad. But as someone who appreciates cute things, it's one of the cutest looking games. I would love a whole game like this, where you can actually move around and stuff. There's one on the PS1 where you get to experience a whole bunch of episodes in a gamey way, and that one uses amazingly cute pixel art, but this early 3D art style has also something to it. Also, the PS1 game has an English translation patch, and I can easily recommend that game to people a lot who like the show and want to experience it through a game. And the GBA game too, that one is not in English, but it's easily understandable. At least they pick 3 episodes that have a lot going on, especially the last one where also Lee shows up and you defeat the Thunder Lion thingy together. But they probably only picked that episode so they had a reason to include the Sakura X Lee AMV that you get afterwards. You know, play through the game, record the whole video and then upload it here on YouTube, and you would get so many views on it from the shipping community calling it one of the best videos ever. Or maybe that would have worked back in the day at least. It's a pretty cute reward at least, right? There's a few extra things like a video player, or you can enjoy these 3D models with a bio after unlocking them from taking the best pictures, but the thing about this game is, it has another game inside of it, that's maybe even better than the real game. This Puyo Puyo kind of game where you have to stack the food and then eventually you get a Kero and he eats it and you get points. I'm just a sucker for those type of games. And you get to look at the cute 3D models. Poor Sakura, please don't be sad, it makes me sad too. It's not really a great game or anything like that, and the shortness of it, this is the part where I have to say I'm short too since I'm only 5'2", makes it maybe even a bad game, but it's one of those games that is just poorly aiming at fans, I think. Especially with the bonus box. And you could say yay, cash grab, but I'm not that cynical. Sometimes you just enjoy owning something from your favorite anime, right? And no, that doesn't immediately make you a consumer. Since I am short and the game is short, I also want to keep the video short. Since mostly there's not much more to say. Maybe one day I will still make that video about the other games. So if you're a fan of the show, maybe check this game out or just watch a little long play of it. Or just rewatch the anime again, that's something I have done when playing the games too. It's worth it if you like Mahou Shoujo. But if you like those kind of anime, then you for sure have already seen it. Just rewatch it. With that said, I hope you will have a good day, a good night or whatever fits your time zone, and maybe one day you will also turn into a magical girl. Even though I think my viewer base is like 95% male. There's a market for magical boys too, I think. Maybe. Bye bye.